And so you get into the normal, some of the normal themes when you have an atheist and a Christian in the same room. You have some of those themes, but it's in a perspective that is completely different than anything I've seen before, and I love the way it's approached. And it doesn't get bogged down in those themes, you know, and play, I don't know, evolution is one of those topics I think of. They don't even talk about that. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the focus the play has on the relationship. These are just two men trying to figure out how to live life. They both have very unique needs that they need from the other person. The ex-convict needs White to stay, and White needs to escape the room. But for some reason he stays, and why does he stay for so long when he always says, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go? But something about the conversation intrigues him to stay, and I think that's intriguing for us too. So I'm very excited about the cast. We have Andy Copeland, who's a local Newberg resident, as well as Bill Jackson, who is also local, which is great because we're keeping it in-house, and they're great to work with, a lot of very fun guys, and are very excited about the project, as well as our designers as well, our design crew, and everybody's getting geared up for it and ready to roll. So
it seems like when you have a play with only two people, I mean, everything depends on the believability of the relationship that they're developing. Do these two people, have they met before we open the play?
You know, that's a great question, and no, they have not.
Okay, so it's people coming together as pretty much strangers, and how that whole thing plays. I mean, that's...
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not like there's along a song and dance and cute little kids and dogs. And, yeah, pretty girls to distract people with. Yeah,
right.
It's interesting. I love it. That's kind of a, what do you want to say? A risky choice in a way. I mean, you know, it might not seem so festive in many ways. So you're assuming that the audience is sophisticated enough to be able to take something like this on.
I think there's a lot of layers in the play that will appeal to different people at different places in their lives. Each time I read it, and I've read it, you know, I'm directing it, so I've read it 10 times, but each time I do, there's a new piece that I discover that I didn't know or realize before. And hearing from our designers and just talking about the play, talking about the themes, it speaks to someone in a different way than it speaks to me, and I really appreciate that about the open-endedness of the text, in that here's a relationship, and now we get to see, you know, how that affects each person who comes to watch it.
Well, and it's true, too, that, I mean, the subject matter itself is very open-ended in a way. You know, I mean, people have got varying shades along the spectrum of whatever the belief happens to be. And sometimes I think what's interesting is seeing a play, and I even kind of noticed that watching your adaptation of A Christmas Carol, it's the inflection that the actor gives the line, or the emphasis on a particular word that makes you hear or see something different in it that maybe you hadn't noticed before. Makes you think about something in a different way.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the main functions of theater, of good theater, is to ask questions. I think there are tons of questions in this play, and rather than shying away from that or kind of glossing over that, I think if we can ask them honestly and as courageously and truthfully as we can, then we'll have done our job. If the audience leaves thinking about it, and if the conversation happens in the car that we might not even know about as the actors and the producers, we'll have succeeded.
Now, I know sometimes with certain plays they'll do something like a talk back. Are you planning to do anything like that with this?
Yes.
Definitely.
You are? Okay.
This one is perfect for it. We did it with our first show in the season because it was Newberg specific, and we wanted to hear people's responses. And we didn't do it for Christmas Carol because, you know,
there's nothing to say.
They've got warm, fuzzy feelings, and then they go home and have hot chocolate.
And there's lots of kids, and you want them out.
Yeah, exactly. But no, this is great for that. I mean, that's one of the biggest goals for Valley Repertory Theater, is to facilitate those conversations within the community about themes that are relevant to us. And having a talk back after a show like this especially is going to be important for that.
We're learning that Newberg is really diverse. We get a slightly different crowd for each production we do. We're meeting different people, and you know, you think, oh, it's suburban, you know, but we're really meeting different people, and these different people have different responses to the plays, different questions, and that's really what excites us.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's interesting because I moved to McMinnville like 25 years ago, and people said, "Oh, why are you moving to McMinnville? Oh my God, who'd live there?" That's where people move away from. And now, of course, it's, you know, cute and fun and trendy, and people love it. And I think, you know, Newberg for a long time, all these little small towns had certain kinds of reputations.
Sure.
And Newberg, obviously, with George Fox College was, well, it's really conservative, you know, and there's all these things. That's not true 25 years later from when I came, certainly, because, you know, right before this interview, we interviewed a woman from a gallery, you know, so then there's all these artists and, you know, people like that. And every community has so many different layers, and that it's really nice for somebody like you to come in and do plays like that really open up dialogue between people who may not talk to each other. Yep. You know, a lot of times people don't, you know, you stick in your little social circle or people you go to school with or church with or work with, and to kind of cut through all of that and bring these people in the same room, I think that really facilitates a sense of community.
Yep.
Our first show had whole sections in Spanish, and just exploring the Hispanic community in Newberg and their stories, where they come from, their desires and their dreams, and it was fascinating how many people said, "Oh, I had no idea that there was this community in Newberg and that these people went through these things," and so that feels good to open up that to someone.
I think that's true. I think, you know, a lot of times whatever the immigrant experience is, you know, and from different times in our country's history, there have been different groups, but it's always kind of underground because, you know, as they're working to try to just stabilize and then, you know, possibly to assimilate, maybe it's best to stay under the radar. You know, there's always that feeling, well, you know, let's not rock the boat too much. And so people, maybe the mainstream of the majority aren't really aware of exactly what's going on.
Sure.
Totally.
Well, it's been really valuable. I have a degree in Spanish as well from George Fox, so that helps a lot.
Sure.
And I've been able to talk to people, you know, in their native language and hear their stories and their perspective of Newberg too. And and I can't say this generally about every Hispanic person I met, but those that I did were so excited about this opportunity to be a part of our play, to be a part of the company, to be a part of the greater community of Newberg, and to be heard, and they were so excited. And I think I ended up meeting the movers and the shakers of that community because they said, you know, we're trying to get our friends and relatives to not assimilate, but to involve ourselves in what's happening. What's happening in Newberg, and it's hard. You know, there's all these barriers, language barriers, obviously one, but there's millions of barriers, of cultural barriers that stop us. But I think what we're trying to do is part of that bridge that needs to be built, and we saw that very strongly at the end of that show of their response, and just the conversations that happened. You know, people using their limited Spanish to go talk to Alavea, and people using their limited English, and just really trying to get over that barrier when you wouldn't necessarily talk to any of those people who you're like, oh, I can't talk to them, so I'm not going to even try.
I don't know. You're right.
I won't even smile and say hello because they might talk to me.
It's like art and music and food. Are the three great equalizers, you know. You throw in some Carlos Santana and bust out some carts and people are having great food and all of a sudden everybody's kind of speaking the same language because you're all appreciating the same thing. You know? It helps if the sun is shining.
Yes.
You know, it does. It's harder to do it on a rainy day because it's harder to have an outdoor life. But yeah, I think that's wonderful. So what other shows do you have planned for 2012?
So Sunset Limited is our third production, which will be in January, and then our fourth and final production of the season is going to be Harvey by Mary Chase, the classic comedy
with a rabbit,
with the invisible white rabbit.
If you need somebody to play a pink rabbit, I know someone who makes a really good pink rabbit. Yeah, he's about 6'4". Yeah.
Excellent.
That sounds dangerous.
But it has to be pink, or
doesn't have to be pink.
Okay.
The rabbit that he did play, however, was pink.
That's awesome.
But he shall go unnamed.
Okay.
Anyway, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, we're very excited. So
you're really switching gears.
Yeah, completely diverse. I mean, that's one of our goals is to challenge ourselves with diverse pieces and challenge the audience as well.
And then you'll take the summer off and start again next fall?
Next
Yes.
September.
Okay. So then I mean, do you have a regular thing where people come in and you talk about like the play selection committee and all that sort of thing?
You're looking at them.
You are the play selection
Yeah.
committee.
We are
okay.
the committee.
So
Okay.
we read a lot. We're always reading plays and it's just, I mean, 80% of it is just what gets us excited, and what really fascinates us and draws our curiosity and attention, and what puzzles us, what makes us ask questions. If the play does that, we're gonna want to dive into that play.
Now, do you have any plans, obviously not this season, but maybe in future years to do any like, one-act play festivals or new works or things like that? So like emerging artists, anything like that?
Yeah, one of our big goals too is, we have so many goals, is to involve the high school students in Newberg in theater. Because a lot of them will graduate and then they have nothing to do, but they have all these skills and these passions. So we've been talking to schools about internship programs, and again, it takes time to develop that. But we'd love to, commission people to write a play and, bring in a student for an internship as a stage manager or as an actor for a season. Just takes time, to build it up.
Do you have plenty of help, or are you looking for volunteers?
We're always looking for volunteers.
Okay.
I mean, we have a core group of people that are fantastic, and we're all volunteers right now.
Right.
Which is just a testament to their passion and just the amount of people that we have is sometimes surprising that they're willing to step up. But yeah, we're always looking for people to sew, to build stuff.
I was going to say set designs
audition.
and costumes
Yeah.
and all those sorts of things that.
There's always more.
Go
to
put
do.
up flyers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, do publicity. So yeah, and so you guys are also in charge of the website, I'm guessing.
Yes, yeah. My brother designed it actually, which is awesome. Designed the logo.
Great.
David Pig.
Okay, yeah.
He and then gave us it, and it's on a thing that I can edit. I don't know much web stuff, but I can edit it, and I'm going to pass it off to my wife because she's a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah, I finally got to the point where I sort of know how to play around in my website.
Yeah.
It's hard to learn.
Yeah, it's complicated.
It's easier just to say, oh, put this up, put this up.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's nice to know how to do it yourself. So,
Yeah.
well, it sounds like this is really, it's really coming together for something that's only, 6 months old?
Yeah.
You have to feel really proud of yourselves.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
You've mounted, 3 productions?
working
Sunset
on our
Limited
third.
is the third.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
We're still alive. We're still here.
Yeah.
So.
We just got a grant from the Yamhill Cultural Coalition
Oh, great.
for the first show of our next season,
Okay.
which will be an original piece about Newberg and people in Newberg. So
And somebody's working on that now?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're already brainstorming and thinking, and always thinking ahead to the next thing.
I think that's really wonderful. So you want to talk, maybe, we don't have a whole lot of time, but let's talk about the dates of your next production.
Sure. Yeah. Sunset Limited opens on January 12th.
Okay.
Which is a Thursday, and it runs for 2 weekends. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it closes on the 22nd.
Okay, and then your
January.
curtain times are?
7:30
Okay.
for the evening shows, and then the matinee is on Sunday matinee, which is at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, okay. And if people want tickets, they can go to the website?
Yes, that's the best way. At this point, we're doing tickets that they can reserve in advance and then pay for at the door.
Okay.
Which, given our track record for the last 2 shows, that's a better way to do that because we ended up
we're
having to
gonna sell
turn
out.
people away.
And it's a 50-seat theater, you said?
Yeah.
50-seat
So,
theater at the
okay.
Chehalem Cultural Center,
At the Chehalem Cultural Center.
downtown Newberg.
And do you want to give a phone number?
The website's probably better.
Okay.
Actually, if they email tickets@valleyrep.org,
Okay.
they can reserve tickets that way. And the phone number and that email is on the website.
On the
so
website, okay,
very
that's
simple.
good.
Just valleyrep.org.
Well, I can't wait to see this new production, and I really want to thank you guys for coming in today.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.